Hi, good evening, and hey to all of you. I'm not going to wait for everybody to drop on. I'm just going to chitter chatter along until everybody has. I hope you've all had a really great day. It's been, as usual, in the UK, a day of many seasons, sunshine and rain. Hey, Rachel, nice to see you. So I've not been doing very much really today. I say that, yes, I have. I'm lying when I say I've not been doing very much. I've been to the doctors yet again because I've got a bit of an allergy to the tape they used on my eyes in the operation 4 weeks ago. And then because I was in Anik, I had felt the urge. Hi, Sarah. Um, Felt the urge to go and buy some garden furniture. I'd been into one of the shops in Anik and had a chat with the owner, Proudlocks, one of the really nice shops in Anik, about garden furniture, because obviously it's coming to the end of the season. Everybody's looking to get rid of it, and they had stuff in there that they wanted to get rid of. So I went in and I managed to get a really, really good deal on some really nice, as Becca put it, bougie garden furniture for next year for the new house. And not only did I get it cheap, they're storing it for me until we move in, so that's great. So I'm really happy with my purchases of today. I try to buy something every single day for the house. That keeps me going. I've got 8 weeks to go, so might need to hire a container in the next week or so. So I'm makeupless tonight, guys, because I can't put anything on my face at all with this allergy I've got to my eyes. I've got some antihistamines and some steroid cream to put on tonight. So hopefully I won't look like a monster from the swamp next time I come on here. So I'm just going to get stuck in, and then everybody can kind of catch up as we go through, because there's always a lot for me to talk about on these lives. We will probably have a long summer anyway, says Sarah. Hope so. Hope that's not the end of it. So last week was the first week in my 12 weeks countdown to launch of my website and my book. So thank you. Rachel's just said I'm glowing natural beauty. That's awesome. I love you, Rachel. So yes, it was last week was the first week, so my first of 12 lives in the countdown to the launch of my website and my book. And what I wanted to share over those 12 weeks was how I went from my rock bottom, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about that in a minute, to where I am today. So obviously I'm talking about buying garden furniture and spending money on a daily basis, and I really am doing that. Honestly, I'm insatiable at the minute for spending money. So I went from my rock bottom 10 years ago, and you'll see in the top the bio that I've written there, 10 years ago, I had nothing. I had lost it all, absolutely everything. Now, I'm not going to tell you any detail about that, guys, because that is the subject of my book. 10 years ago was the end of my series of unfortunate events that got me to rock bottom. Now, that's what I'm writing my book about. So the book is about what happened to take me to rock bottom and the lesson I learned during that period of time. And it's called The Life I Won, title chosen by the ladies of Meba. So rock bottom 10 years ago, living in a council house in Amble with nothing, a very, very basic little runaround car and nothing other than my 2 children and my 2 dogs. And last week I talked about forgiveness and gratitude, because those for me were the starting points of me being able to rebuild my life that had crumbled around me. Okay, and although I was at rock bottom, and 10 years is quite a long time, but you've got to bear in mind that I was a single mum for a lot of those years. I was really restricted. My son is autistic. There was lots of things I was going through, but in those 10 years, I'm not only buying my house cash in a few weeks' time, and that's a big change, but I have secured some real good quality investments and savings for my children. So that's what I'm going to take you through over the 12 weeks, is how did I go from feeling like I was at the bottom of the pile to feeling like I live an abundant life every single day, and I do. And it's a huge turnaround. So last week, the gratitude and forgiveness, I said forgiveness was like the bricks and gratitude was like the mortar for me to start to rebuild the very foundations of my life. And we're moving into mindset today, and I see mindset like the windows, because when you can change your mindset, you get clarity. Now, mindset is something talked about a lot, and you can buy lots of books on mindset and you can do lots of trainings on mindset. But for me, mindset starts with the forgiveness and the gratitude, but almost starts with the acceptance of what you have now is good enough. And that's where I started. I had to reframe my thinking, and mindset is about thinking, how you think about your life and what you have, and what you are surrounded by and who you are surrounded by and how you think. Because a lot of us can be caught in the I have nothing. Oh, hi Alison, you've joined, nice to see you. Just sort of, hi Lynn, hi, hey. So we can be caught in this mindset of lack, of I am never going to, I can't do this because I am not good enough, I am not worthy. We can be caught in that mindset. So for me, being taken from, I had £100,000 package, a six-figure package in the job that I had. I was in quite important, really good career, 25-year career. And my series of unfortunate events had taken me down to owning nothing, okay, living in a council house, having a £700 car, and no more than £1,000 in my bank. Now, I was not used to that. I know that might still sound a lot for some people, but for me, from where I'd come from, that was a big shift. A huge shift. Sorry, I was just reading what people are writing there. I was just reading what you'd written there, Lynn. And this is where I had to shift my mindset. So I was no longer the person that earned that six-figure salary. What I was a mum to two children who had lost their dad, and a mum to two hairy children that needed me also. I had two dogs to look after. And I was somebody who had to provide for these children and these dogs, and had to put a roof over their head, and had to give them food and buy them clothes. And actually, I was able to thinking in that way, was able to reframe I am living in a council house in Amble that seemed quite bad to me, to my council house is my castle. My council house is my castle, and this is my way out. So the first point I put in the comments at the side there is what I changed and how I changed it. So in changing my thinking, the first thing I did was say, do you know what? What I have is good. My house is my castle. I am going to live small. I am going to change from this person that I was, earning all of that money. Hi Jane, nice to see you. Just noticing you've dropped on there. I was no longer this person that had this salary, this money, this income, all of the things I wanted to buy. I no longer had that. I was a new person. So I had to change my mindset. So the first thing I had to change was me and the way that I thought about what I currently had in my life. Forgiveness and gratitude were part of that, but this mindset change was a huge shift for me. So in my little council house that was my castle, I started to build this picture of this beautiful place that I lived. And Amble is a beautiful place. And my little castle, and I'm going to call it my castle from now on, was literally 60 seconds from the beach. So I had wonderful Northumbrian coastal walks on my doorstep. And I was able to live small. So in living small, I could then adapt my living and my income to where I lived now. And if you reframe where you live now, which is what I had to do, and say, okay, this is my castle by the sea. I've got 2 children and 2 dogs that need to be happy. And we went out on lots and lots of really long walks on the seaside with picnics, and building castles and swimming in the sea. And Becca was wet nearly every single day that we lived in that council house because she was in the sea, even on rainy days, which became a real joy for me. So I was able to start to change my mindset and say, do you know what? This is my base level. I've started to build the foundations with my bricks and mortar, and I could see out of the windows that I'd started to put in with the mindset change. Okay, there was vision starting to come to me. I could live small because it was inexpensive to live in a council house. I didn't have huge overheads or huge bills. Somebody's going to come through the door now and interrupt me while I'm on a live. Even though I've told them all I'm on the live, hey, that's family. So I'm living in this council house and I'm living small, and I'm really bringing things in and saying, right, okay, what do I need to pay out? And in doing that, it opened my mind to be able to come up with ideas of planning big. When you are living small and you're living within your means, and you've got this mindset of, this is a positive change for me. I've got my little castle by the seaside. I've got my children, got my dogs. This is a positive change. So therefore, what can I do? Living small, but planning big. The shift in my mindset was able to open me up to opportunities. So how I changed that was just the first point, that the first stages of this process. What business and life strategies I then implemented was a huge shift for me in mindset. I made the decision in my little castle by the seaside that I was going to say yes to every single opportunity that came my way, no matter how ridiculous it seemed, and no matter how out the box it seemed. I decided I was going to say yes. So I'd started up my little cleaning business. So I'd gone from this 6-figure salary to living in my council house by the sea, my castle, and I was a cleaner. So I'd gone from being this senior leader in retail to being a cleaner. And what happened was, as I opened my mindset and said yes to things, more and more things started to come my way. So my basic strategy was, say yes to everything that comes up. And if you make a mistake, it's okay, because what could be worse than where you've been? You've been at rock bottom. You considered this to be your rock bottom. Whatever mistake you make, it can't put you in any worse a place. So just say yes. That's me, the yes man, Lynne. So what happened then was really actually a revelation, because things started to come to me. And this is where mindset is linked to, and this is, again, wherever you watch on Facebook or on any of social media at the minute, people are talking about the universe, okay? The universe is you. You are the universe, okay? When you open yourself up to possibilities, and when you change your thinking, you become your own universe. Things will come to you. And once you visualize them, hi Natasha, hey Natasha, nice to see you. So things will come to you. The things that you want and the things that you need will come. There may be a bit of a lag time, and I call that lag. All right. So there's things you want and you're visualizing, and there's things you're putting out there to the universe, and you're making plans and you're strategizing, and there's lag, because nothing turns up on your doorstep the very next day. But once your thinking changes, what happens is you're engaging all them neurons in your brain to start being solution-based. And that is why mindset is so important. And that's why I call it the windows, because it just brings real strategy. So I think moving it, I have a PhD in mistakes, says Alice. And guess, so do I. Hey, so do I. And it's a great PhD to have. So when I say windows, I really do mean windows. What I was able to do in changing my mindset was accept that absolutely everything, and it comes with forgiveness and gratitude as well, everything was my responsibility. The way that I felt every day that when I got up, The actions that I took on a daily basis were my responsibility. The mistakes that I made and had made in the past were my responsibility. And I was never going to be able to rebuild my life without accepting 100% responsibility for absolutely everything. After all, in retail, as a store manager, the buck stopped with me. And as a divisional executive, the buck stopped with me. You know, if I was a store manager in a store taking $500,000 a week and Johnny at the back door did something wrong and maybe was a bit dishonest, that was my fault, because I hadn't picked the right person, B, I hadn't trained him properly, C, I hadn't put security measures in place. That wasn't his fault, that was my fault. So I actually tried to apply the same sort of rules to my life, because sometimes you forget that mindset when you end up with lack and you end up at rock bottom. You forget the things that you actually have learned along the way. And a little bit of living small gave me some thinking time. It really gave me some time to think about the things that I knew and the things that I could then implement as strategies within my life and within my business. Because I wasn't a cleaner, I was growing and developing a cleaning business. So I stopped looking at it, because I'd been describing myself as, I used to be this person. I used to be a store manager earning this, and now I'm just a cleaner living in a council house. Well, I wasn't describing myself like that anymore. I was living in my castle by the seaside, and I was developing and building my own business. It didn't matter what that business was. If anyone asked me what I did, I used to say I'm self-employed. I'm building a business. It doesn't matter what you do in that business. And actually accepting that and giving yourself credibility, no matter what it is. I don't care if you're selling ice cream in a little counter by the seaside. I don't care what you're doing. If you are doing something, then you are an entrepreneur, you're a business owner, you're building your empire. And it's how your mindset, how you see yourself, that changes how you think about strategies and how you implement them going forward. So it was tough, believe me. It's not easy to start thinking about those things in a different way, because let me tell you what will happen when you start describing yourself in that way. Yeah, people will call you conceited. They will call you big-headed. That's happening now, because I am marketing this as I was in a council house 10 years ago and now I'm buying my house for cash. Some people don't like that. Some people really don't like that. They see it as bragging. You cannot be, look, I'm actually really good at this, without somebody pointing the finger and going, oh, look at her, or oh, look at him. Yeah, well, do you know what? It doesn't matter. I was going to be proud of every single thing I did. And that again goes back to the mindset and putting the windows in your house that you are starting to build, that is your life, your perfect life. Okay. Do not be ashamed of those windows. Polish them till they're shiny and tell everybody how shiny your windows are, because by Christ, you have deserved it. If you brush yourself, if you get up off the ground and you brush yourself off and you can get that dust brushed off you, you deserve to shout about that from the top of the mountains. And that was what I learned about mindset. It was a huge revelation for me. But it was tough that people found that. I actually cut people out of my life, and I lost people who ended up being quite nasty to me because they didn't like me, because they thought I was conceited. Yeah, and thank you, Sarah. Screw them. That's exactly what I learned to say. At first, it hurt a little bit, and it does hurt when people do that, or where people remove themselves from your life. It hurts a bit, but actually, they are absolutely 100% the wrong people. The right people will stay, the right people will hang about, the right people will want to celebrate your success with you, and they will be proud of you and your achievements, and those are the people that you want in your life. So some of the difficult decisions that I had to make were to just let people go. And actually, I had to be as harsh in my life as I was. And I'm not saying I was harsh as a store manager. I wasn't. I was quite ruthless in terms of, if people weren't doing a job, I would deal with them. And I had to apply that into my life as well. So transmuting the business strategies that I had as a senior leader into my life of not accepting poor performance from others and not accepting poor performance from me was a really difficult shift as well, because it's more personal when it's in your life. But it's really essential that you do it. Really essential that you do it. So changing your thinking. This is a really big thing. It is. It's something you've got to work on every day. And it does start. Thank you, Sarah, for being proud of me. I'm proud of me too. It does start with this forgiveness. When you let go, when you forgive, and when you let go of all the wrongs that have been done to you, and you find gratitude in what you've got. So I've described to you my castle in Amble near the seaside, where I could go for long walks with my children and my dogs and keep it really small and keep the cost really low. What I started to do was build up a strategy for life here. Okay, I could keep my costs really low. So every single penny that I earned over and above that what I needed to actually live this small life that I'd created for myself, I invested. Thank you, Tracy, and hi, welcome. Thank you for saying I'm looking great. I don't feel it, but thank you. So yeah, living small. So what I needed to do was be really, and this is a strategy that I want to share with you that I feel is really important. And we are actually going to explore it in more detail in later weeks. When you can get yourself to living small, so in my council house with so many, I was bankrupt, I had no other outgoings, I owned my little £700 car. So what did I need to live on? What was the base level of I needed to live on? Okay, and then attracting more income from the business that I was starting to build. So every single penny of extra income that I brought into my life, I invested it. I either invested it in the business, or I invested it in me, or I invested it into savings for the kids. That's all I did at that point. I invested in those three things. So, and I would split it three ways. So in investing in me, I started off by buying books. And then as I started to generate more income, I went on some courses and I did some studying and I did lots of different, so there was lots of things happening where I was investing in me, because the more you know, the easier it is. Thanks, Debbie. Hi, Mandy, you were a fab manager too. Thank you. That's really nice. The more you know and the more things you assimilate, it's like, I always have an analogy, it's like Star Wars, isn't it? With the, if you assimilate all this knowledge and information and learn from other people and watch what other people are doing and suck it all in and think, right, okay, can I apply that to my life? Then actually that grows you as a person. It doesn't only grow you, it grows your mindset and your thinking and your ability to think strategically about the things that you want to achieve in your life. It's a growth opportunity. It's a growth opportunity for you. It's a growth opportunity for your family and your loved ones. It's a growth opportunity for your business. So let the people go that don't like you. Let the people go that are criticizing you. Take them out of your life. Remove the negativity, and you stay absolutely 100% positive and focused and strategic, and make the decisions about what you want. Now, this is why this is phased, and this is why this has taken me 10 years, guys. If I could have done this in a year, I'd have packaged it, sold it, and I'd be a millionaire now, sitting on an island somewhere, waving at everybody, but I'm not, because it actually does take time and effort to do this sort of investment. Sometimes people are lucky and they hit on a product or a thing that goes like completely haywire and viral and sells loads of. In general, for most of us, we've got to work a bit hard at that, and we've got to be experts, and the person that you need to be an expert on is you. Okay, you are worth the investment, and you are worth investing on becoming an expert. But the first thing you've got to become an expert in is you and your thinking. The most successful people on this planet are the most flexible and the most adaptable to change, without a doubt. You will not find wealthy, successful people who are rigid and fixed and have closed mindsets. They are open to every single opportunity. Watch the Dragon's Den. Yeah, just look around you and look at the wealth that we are surrounded by. And there is wealth enough on this planet for every single one of us. What you've got to do is open your mind to the thinking and the possibilities that you are entitled to it. And you are entitled to it. I am entitled to it. And all you've got to do is change your mindset, change your thinking, and start to invest in you. And then start to think about the bigger picture. And like I said, we're going to move into this over the next few weeks. I've got some real detailed, juicy stuff for you over the next 10 weeks that I've still got to talk to you about how I made investments and what sort of things I did to invest in myself. Because believe me, I know it's a bit corny and you might have heard this and lots of people use it and lots of people say it, yeah? But where focus goes, energy flows. And energy is positive. And if you're giving out positive energy, you're going to get positive energy in. If I said to you, I have not looked for a job or a business opportunity for 10 years, that they have all come to me. Not once have I had to look for something. Every single opportunity that has happened for me in the last 10 years has come to me. So I built and grew a cleaning business with my new improved mindset and changed completely. And not immediately, after a few years, but I didn't look for a change. It just happened. It came and it landed on my lap. And that happened again and it landed on my lap. And yet again, I am launching a new business and a book this in a few weeks' time. And it's happened naturally. And that is the universe, because I am the universe, and my brain and my mindset and my thinking are the universe. Because in opening that all up, I have brought this to me rather than having to go out to look for it. And I have to say, without even knowing it, that's what I was doing as a store manager. I was promoted quite consistently throughout my career without actually looking for any of the jobs. And it is about strategic and creative thinking. And this is what I will be teaching in my program that I'll be launching on my website in October, is about the ability to think creatively. Yeah, creative thinking is an amazingly powerful tool. And it starts with all of these things that I've talked about so far. You do not have to be an artist. You don't have to be able to draw. You don't have to be able to write. You don't have to be able to do anything to be creative. What I teach on this upcoming program is creative thinking. And I teach it because I know it. And I want to share what I know with you. Why? Because I want everybody to be able to achieve what I have achieved. I don't want to see people living in council houses with no income. I want them to be able to, and there's nothing wrong with council houses, I'm going to say. I have been accused, and anybody who's watching on here from B&Q in North Shields, I've been accused of being a bit hyacinth bouquet when I had to move into my council house, because it was such a big move for me. So I'm not hyacinth bouquet. Council houses, do you know what? I loved my little house. It was a great little house. It served me well. I stayed in it for 6 years, and it is the reason I am where I am now, because it enabled me to live small. So there's nothing wrong with living in any sort of accommodation like that. It's a fantastic opportunity for you to be able to build something huge. And isn't that great? Stop laughing at me. Isn't that great to be able to come out of a council house with a really successful business and show the world that actually anybody can do it? I think that's fantastic. Don't care what all the haters say. They can bugger off. So hopefully that's been of some use to you today. Honestly, stay with me on this. There's so much to come in the next 10 weeks. I've got loads of laughs coming now. So much to come in the next 10 weeks. Next week, it's really exciting next week. I'm going to talk about what do you have now and what do you need. That's the title for next week. What do you have and what do you need? So we're taking it that step further. We've put the bricks down and the mortar down, and we've started putting the windows in. Okay, so what do you have in your little empire that you're going to start building, and what is it you need? So this is the starting to unlock your strategic and creative thinking, to start thinking about what you're going to ask the universe for. the universe is you. What you're going to ask for? What do you need in your life? What do you need to change in your life? What do you need in your business? What do you need in your work? What do you need for your kids? What do you need? So we're going to explore that in some detail next week, and I'm quite excited about that because we're starting to get into more meaty stuff. But if you want to know the subject matter for each and every Tuesday night, they're all on the events page on Violet Aura Art. So have a look on there to see what's coming up. Yeah. And if you know anybody that hasn't watched that it might benefit, please share, get them to watch, because it might help somebody. Right now, I need super nanny. Okay, Sarah. Yeah, can't help you there, I'm afraid. So thank you so much for joining me. I am loving sharing this with you guys, and I hope you know something if it gets and reaches one person and helps them to be able to think differently or shift their mindset a little bit, then it's worth being on here. Thank you for joining me. You are amazing. I love you all. And join me next Tuesday night, yeah, for more of the same. I might have some makeup on next week. I might not. Who cares? Okay. See you all then. See you all then. Bye.